Very strange to be doing this podcast with sunlight out again.
Yeah. I just realized I went to go look to the window behind me, but I forgot I have a background up, so I was just looking deep into Rick McCallum's eyes.
Not even his eyes. You were looking directly into Rick McCallum's mouth. This week we have a guest. It's Rick McCallum's pictures, slightly obscuring the edges of Chris's being. Chris and Rick McCallum are one. They have become one being, and therefore we have become a proper podcast with someone that worked on Star Wars, kind of.
It's like Krang, and Rick McCallum is my vessel.
Don't do that. I don't have time to make another Krang edit. I really don't want to do this. Hello and welcome to Stars Every Week Forever, the podcast in which we watch one Star Wars movie every week forever. This week, the 15th watch of Rise of Skywalker. Now, here's the dreaded question that I have to ask at the beginning of every show that you have come to greatly hate. Chris, how was your watch?
A lot worse now that you just reminded me it's the 15th watch. I've seen this movie far more times than anyone should have ever seen this movie. Statistically, how many people out there do you think have watched this movie 15 times?
Well,
because, the movie's been out for a few years. Even if you're someone who really liked this movie, how many people have watched this movie 15 times?
Well, on one hand, I did Star Wars marathons all the time as a kid just to have something on in the background while I played pretend at 15 years old. What's the old Kevin Steen story where he talks about playing with, doing a Stone Cold entrance and taking a ceramic cup and throwing it at the wall and breaking through the wall, and then he reveals afterwards, I was 18 at the time. That was me as a kid. I did an embarrassingly long time. I would just put Star Wars on in the background. So from that perspective, it's very possible a lot of people have done it. But on the other side of things, the world has changed. There's a lot of content out there immediately. You don't have to rely on the 7 DVDs that you own anymore. So, I don't know. I think we're in the top percentile. Not of the other movies, but this movie specifically.
The good old TNT and or TBS. I can never remember Star Wars marathons.
Yeah. I never watched those, though. I did this thing with my cable when I was a kid where I literally deleted all the channels except, the 7 or 8 channels that I watched, so that when I hit the next channel, it would immediately go to a channel I had to watch. I wasn't a smart kid. I wasn't interested in the news or anything like that until I was an adult. So it's just Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, Disney, G4, and repeat. That's kind of how it
G4, went. RIP again. Jay, how was your watch?
So I watched it while I edited because I didn't have a choice. I was juggling a lot. We are caught up technically, but this is a Thursday. We are recording last weekend's, and then we're recording the proper episode some point this weekend. So we're not behind anymore, but we're kind of behind. So I watched this last week, and I watched it while I edited an episode where Chris pitched a new sequel trilogy. Mm-hmm. And at the time, I was like, I don't think this will work. I was pretty clear on the episode. I was like, I don't think this works. This what you've presented. The fan fiction you presented. But while I watched Rise of Skywalker and edited you talking about this,
sounds a hell of a lot better now, doesn't it?
I just sat there and got very angry at this one specific movie and was like, yeah, burn it to the ground. Let's do this trilogy instead. That's how my watch went. I was angry because I had to do multiple Star Wars things at once. That's how it kind of worked.
Yeah, I mean, hey, Mandalorian's back, so I've been doing multiple Star Wars things at once.
How's that?
It's pretty good. It's, there's some stuff going on. There were some pretty big revelations.
For the audience, Chris is eating Red Lobster biscuits while we record, in case you're
The
wondering.
ones you buy in the store and make yourself because the Red Lobster in my city closed about 2 years ago. So
That's a pandemic closing. Red
also,
Lobster is the fancy
let's be
dinner for poor
real. Do you
people.
want to eat at a Red Lobster in about the most landlocked state in the United States?
I remember before my dad retired, he ended up getting like a pretty decent job in terms of pay, like a good job that paid well, but that required him to not be home alone a lot. And his boss, who we know, family friend, um, we had no money growing up, and it just got gradually worse. But he ended up getting a job that had him drive around a lot, and he got paid really, really well. So as a reward, us and this boss went to a dinner at Red Lobster, and I was just like, "This is the most comedians play jokes about this." And I wouldn't regret it because Red Lobster kind of slaps. But again, we're kind of landlocked too. Not as landlocked as you, but kind of landlocked. So
Yeah, but PA is right next to New York. Like, you guys are coast adjacent, at least. That's a day
coast
trip
adjacent,
to
and
drive some seafood in.
yeah. Every once in a while, I'll go outside during a storm and feel sea breeze on my face from a really nasty wind, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm not that far away from the ocean. Like every once in a while, you'll get a storm. New York people that are from like in-state New York will feel that too. Like you probably do.
Real
Like every
New
once in a
York.
while, you'll get a real nasty storm. You'll go out and you'll be like, oh yeah, that's ocean water. Bad
Bad
movie.
movie. Bad, bad.
Bad movie. Bad movie. I will say though, there's a line in here that I use in my everyday life all the time. I've realized, and I didn't realize until like last watch that I use it very often. And friend of the show Lawrence will recognize this. The "you know what you are" difficult line I use on Friends all the
Yeah.
time, all the time. Because Chris can
Mm-hmm.
attest. I'm the most easily harassed person on the planet, and I kind of play into it because I enjoy it. But I have used that quote so many times that I didn't realize it was still from the movie, and every time it pops up, I'm like, oh yeah, I got this from this. That's a problem.
Hey, I mean, you got something good and usable and, something of note from this movie at least.
It took me realizing it. I had a friend, I said something about a John Moxley promo where he was bleeding a lot. Surprise, surprise. And that friend replied with, "Does he bleed a lot?" as a joke. Is that something he does often? And then I went to look like, where does that quote from? And then I saw it was from Rise of Skywalker. I'm like, you'd think I would know that. But no, these movies have just cemented themselves into my psyche in such a way that I can't escape them.
Yeah.
And it became part of my
I
vocabulary.
think that I'm, without knowing, dissociating so heavily during these movies that it seemingly is having no effect on me. It's like I watch these movies and then I fucking forget that I ever watched these movies at this point. 15 fucking rotations in.
Yeah, I mean, they just happen to you, which is why I think it's interesting because sometimes we'll make a reference and not even realize it. I think it's kind of like brainwashing, where you're subjected to something on a disassociative level all the time. So it's just there all the time, and you think it's just part of who you are, whereas it's literally these things that you're subjecting yourself to every week. But again, it's not the worst movie I watched this week. I mentioned last week, because this is out after it, and I'm manifesting it. I watched 51st Dates this
I
week.
have yet to watch that. That's my job for the weekend. I'm gonna make my wife watch it with me because I don't think she's ever seen it.
You are not prepared to rewatch 51st Dates.
It's been a long time. I'm excited. I remember liking it a lot. It's a dumb, horrible movie.
You shouldn't be.
But I remember enjoying it quite a bit.
It's offensively bad. You will be angry a lot.
Yeah.
I'm telling you that right now. I thought, oh yeah, it's a fun, stupid movie that's problematic. No, it's a stupid movie that's so problematic. I'm surprised it came out in 2003.
I mean, hey, 2003 was a much different.
Well, yeah, but
For
even
the
for
wild
then,
days.
why people thought Adam Sandler was funny is beyond me. And I say that to myself, too, because there's definitely, like, a couple things that I found funny, and it's embarrassing.
See, I don't know. I don't know if I have ever been of the opinion that Adam Sandler is funny. I enjoy a few of his movies, but I don't
Yeah,
know if it's ever Adam Sandler that's the selling point for me, you know?
definitely not. But we can't talk about this right now because I have to bottle up everything that I felt because it's very recent, and I have to push it way down into my stomach so that I can let it come out of my soul when we record that episode that's already out for the people listening right now.
So when are we gonna watch Click for the podcast?
I feel like we've got a list of movies that are probably more prevalent, but like in a couple of years, I think it makes sense. I feel like we got to watch Daredevil.
Oh, we absolutely have to watch it.
I mean, we almost got our Twitter taken down for
Yeah.
making an edit of Daredevil 2000 whatever. So I feel like we got to watch that.
But will that stop us from doing it in the future? Absolutely not.
No. I mean, I'm kind of inviting them to shut down our Twitter at this point. I'm not on Twitter often anymore. I've cut it out of my life in a lot of ways. But when I'm on there, when I'm on the SWWF Twitter, I always send a picture of Elon Musk as a Rakatan to him directly. And we've gotten a few moments where private accounts has quote tweeted us when we do it. And I say, unlock your accounts, you fucking cowards.
Have we really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's very interesting. It's like that time we recorded on Twitch and just a random, very popular Twitch streamer popped
See,
in and then popped out.
I don't know if that's a thing you can see. If, as the person who's being quote tweeted, if the account is private, can you still not see what they say
No.
in your quote? Wow, okay.
You see that there was a quote retweet, and you click on it, and there's nothing there. That's how it works.
Interesting.
At least that's the way it used to work before Twitter broke down entirely. But the point of the story is, will we make edits that get us taken down on Twitter? Yes, I invite it. I want that very badly, in fact. I'm inviting the repercussions. If for some reason the SWWF Twitter doesn't exist at some point, it's my fault, and I'm cool with it. I'm walking on sunshine. Whoa. But yeah, we gotta watch Daredevil 2004, I think. I really want to watch. Hayden Christensen did a movie where he did the worst Italian accent ever, and I want to watch that very badly for an April Fool's because it would be tremendous content. Trying to think, because those are like the big ones. Those are the two big ones that we were like, we gotta watch these.
I feel like we have to watch Spaceballs just for the meme of it.
Yeah, but that's not as funny for April Fools, you know? If we just did a one-off where we watched it...
Like, if
like,
we
for
were
fun?
gonna do it, it should have been the first time we did the April Fool's thing.
Yeah.
And now it feels as though that moment has passed.
I feel like if we did that, it would have to just be, hey, we're dropping a random episode. Because we had time to record a second episode, something that does not happen very often. Yeah, I feel like that. Or we could do it for May 4th when we run out of content, which will probably happen. I mean, we only have solo to do, which maybe we'll do it this year. I don't know. Things are difficult right now as far as everybody's scheduling.
Yes.
But yeah, I haven't watched Phantom Menace, which we have to record one day this weekend yet. But of Rise of Skywalker and 51st Dates, Rise of Skywalker was a cakewalk by comparison. And I was fucking editing during it. But it doesn't mean it was good.
You know what I don't want to talk about? Star Wars Episode 9, Rise of Skywalker.
I don't either, but we gotta, like...
Jay, we did so good last
try.
week. We did so good last week.
You weren't here last
The
time.
week before that. Look, time is a flat circle, alright? I don't know.
We've done so well for a couple of weeks, but... I have notes, but they're all kind of like... Here's one randomly that I only noticed for the first time this time, and it was because I didn't click out of the movie fast enough. Why the fuck do they play the Imperial March during the credits?
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to know that, because the only character that the Imperial March represents is fucking dead for 20 years at the point of this movie. Why do you play that at that time? I mean, it's an Empire motif, but even the Empire isn't really represented. Are you presenting it as Palpatine? Because that's not Palpatine has his own theme, which you barely use in this movie.
But that's exactly the problem, is these movies are bad at things. So yeah, it was probably just someone being like, yeah, fuck it, that's the Palpatine song, right? Get that in there.
That sounds like the most this podcast named for anything at this point. These movies are bad at things.
Mm-hmm.
And we're bad at podcasting, so it works.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's the whole, the hell's that Bible quote? Let not, throws the first stone be without sin or whatever. We suck and we're throwing stones at other things that suck, We're just...
Pretty much. See, that's the problem with this podcast, and that's why I press that maybe this isn't a show for fans of Star Wars. Maybe it's a show for people who like pain. Because it's like... We can't... I say this a million times. We can't be trusted to review these movies anymore. We can't. No. Because things that are normal in these movies piss us off. By design. That was the plan. That's the content, baby. So, it's very difficult. Because sometimes I feel, especially when it comes to the sequel trilogy, I want to sit there and dissect things, but I can't separate the part of my brain that is like, hey, this is like proper criticism, and one that's like, hey, you are so fucking sick of watching these. Like, the two are difficult to pull apart.
Yeah, but I mean... Any type of criticism is so goddamn subjective. It's like, what is proper criticism?
Yeah, right. But nothing we do is proper criticism. I think that's the underline of this part of the show.
It's like, to us.
To us. To anybody that's watched the way we have. Specifically. So, the three of us.
Yeah. I'm Rick. We got Rick's support. The mascot of this podcast, Rick McCallum.
Okay, but we have so many mascots. Oh, before I forget, John Williams for the Unimportant Background Character Hall of Fame. Yes? Because he's in this movie.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
Get him in.
Just out of respect. Just out of respect for the amount of effort that they put into a 2-second shot, I'll throw him in there.
Counterpoint. Is that a sign of respect, putting him in this Hall of Fame?
Yeah, this Hall of Fame? Okay, honorary, because we put things in honorary that should be, respected but aren't all the time. I think honorary works.
Much like they might be giants.
Yes. We got to get together and go over the list, because Ben keeps the list, and there's things that we all need to vote on.
Keeper of the list.
The keeper of the list. Ben is the keeper of the list. This rotation was weird because it's the first time that every time we've used a title that had one of our names in it, it was Ben, until this rotation, which had both me and Chris have title names in it, which is weird as hell.
We should finish off this rotation strong and figure out how to name this one something with Ben's name, even though he's not here.
Ben, the keeper of the lore? I don't know.
The one where Ben's not here.
The one where Ben's not here. No, we can't force it. We can't force it. One day we'll do it. It's mathematically likely that it will happen where we all have names in one rotation. So, it's possible.
It's possible.
It's possible.
God. This movie makes me so unhappy.
Expand upon
Every time it's this one on the horizon, it's like, this is the... They're all hard to watch, but this is the one that's real hard to just sit down and watch. There's not a single moment in this movie that I enjoy. Not a single fucking moment.
I'm trying to think of something I enjoy about this movie. And I've mentioned I like some of the characters they introduce, even though they do fuck all with them, but other than that, I like the tiny man. I like the tiny man a lot.
That Babu Frick?
Babu Frick. I like the tiny man a lot. The tiny man is very funny.
Oh, we got more of them in The Mandalorian.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw it in the trailer.
That scene made me laugh quite a bit, and I ended up rewatching that scene multiple times.
I like Babu Frick. That's probably Babu Frick is the only thing that saved this movie. Really, Babu Frick is a gem, and I really like that 3PO calls him his oldest friend, because that's a bit that spawned so much content out of you.
Yeah.
Which is another thing you did subconsciously that I don't think you.
Yeah.
So, Chris is a character that he plays in D&D that didn't really have friends growing up. That refers to the other party members as my oldest friend, or the second oldest friend.
I think the first time I did it, our characters had known each other for about an hour.
No, it was like a day.
Okay.
You don't give yourself enough credit. It was like 12 hours. But yeah, I was the first one to meet you in that game, so that's how that worked. It's just, there's so many things. It's even like bits that we do on the podcast, like the "Hey, look at us" thing. We do at least once a week.
Hey, at least we stopped in random conversations with our other friends doing the slapboxing in the rain bit.
Oh my god, I forgot about slapboxing in the rain.
Because that was a thing we would just drop into conversation, and everybody else was very confused.
I forgot that we did that for so fucking long, and I forgot it existed at all. We haven't said it in a long time, but yeah, we would just... It became... How do I best describe it in a slang way that... Like, the girls are fighting meme.
Mm.
That's what slapboxing in the rain became to us. It's like anytime someone would fight or something like that, it'd be like, they're slapboxing in the rain. It's like a weirdly romantic way to describe
Well, it was either that
a fight.
euphemism for sex, so that was... Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
It's strangely... The point is, our brains have been broken by our bits.
Yeah.
The thing that we do less that we used to do a lot is Emperor Palpatine's voice out of nowhere.
Yes.
Yes. We did that a lot for a long time. And now we kind of keep it on the podcast.
Yeah, it still slips out every once in a while.
Every
once in a while, you'll get a yes or a do it.
Do it. Screw it. Chew it. I blew it. Do you think that Palpatine, when he admits defeat, he just goes, Lord Vader, I blew it. I really miffed this one up. I screwed it.
Have we ever talked on the podcast about the Palpatine Do It voice sample dubstep song I made?
No!
Have we never talked about that?
You've never shown me it.
I absolutely sent you that.
You did not.
I'll resend it to you after this episode, but I sent that to you a long, long time ago.
Why has it not been on the show then?
I don't know. That just I think
remember.
when I first made it, I initially was like, "Hey, new outro song."
I have no memory of this.
Well, I'll resend it to you. God, I hope I still have that somewhere. I'll have to go with my GarageBand. I think it's.
Did you send it?
I think it's literally just titled in my GarageBand as like shame.
Okay, then I just have to look for shame in the Discord, and maybe I'll find it, because I have no memory of this.
I feel like if you search the word shame in our Discord, you're finding a lot of posts.
Yeah, it's a lot of title pictures, really. A picture of me at 8 years old as young Anakin Skywalker that will never be released to the public. And Ben expressing that that we're not accounting for the amount of shame that he does not have. So that's kind of what I found.
Yeah, it's literally just titled shame.
Do you think maybe you got very high and forgot to send it one day?
No, because we had a whole conversation about it at one point.
I have no memory of this. I'm so sorry. Any luck finding that? Because
I'm waiting for my GarageBand to sync currently. I have it. I just got to figure out a way to send a copy of it at the moment. I don't remember how to do that to Discord.
I want to read out the exact note that I had while I was editing the show and watching, because really is just an expression of frustration. The exact words are, peek behind the curtain. This rotation, we've been behind a lot. This week, this is the second episode I'm recording, and I've edited 2 episodes this entire week, so I didn't have the luxury of watching this film without editing at the same time. During the episode 7 recording, Chris and I talked about different versions of the sequels at the time. I was really not in favor of Chris's Legacy of the Force pitch, but now that I had to watch this and find that regardless of how badly I think fitting in a lot of the stuff that is important to that story would work in translation, it sure would be better than this fucking shit. I'm so tired of all of this.
I love that when you have these big, long, drawn-out notes, they're like... It's just like a spiral, like a mental breakdown in, like, written form.
Well, that's also why I shared the folder that I write these in early on, so that y'all could see it at any time. Because it must be interesting for other people to see.
Oh, hey, I figured it out. I figured out how to export.
This rules.
Horrible.
I have no memory of this. This rules.
Horrible. That's what happens when I'm given access to music engineering.
I can't hear anything except Dubstep Palpatine right now. That'll be in the episode. How did we not put that in the episode when you made it? What happened? When did I drop the ball? How did I drop the ball on this?
Horrible.
Here it is for your listening nightmare.
I'm so sorry.
Do it.
Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it.
So that certainly happened.
The, hologram of Palpatine coming to your Coachella soon.
That'll be in the second Papa Palp Soundtime Darth Super Hour edit. We're a mess. Why do we do this? This is the kind of content that fills our fucking brains on a weekly basis. This is where we're at.
I took time out of my day to make that.
I mean, I've made worse. I have done way dumber over way smaller of things. I have edited a picture of me and Ben and Chris on a picture of the God Help the Girl movie poster and changed it to God Help the Therapist. This is what we do with our lives in general, so if we weren't making this podcast, we'd be doing it. It's just more focused on stupid things that nobody else understands.
It is a strange thing that we make full-on content that nobody else is ever going to see as jokes, just as fucking inside jokes within our friend group.
Is this the episode where I go into the folder of all the things I've edited and just look at the nonsense we've made?
Yeah, Jay, why don't we take a walk through your folder and you can tell me how you feel about each of these images. Let's go back to the beginning. Let's go back to the first thing you made for this podcast.
YouTube watchers, I'm not going to put all these in. I'm not going to put all these into the episode. We don't have time. But it'll be funnier if you just listen anyway. So, alright, I am going into the E folder that I have for this. So I have it divided into Audacity saves, B-roll saves, clips, MP3, MP4, RAW, skit shows, and common files, which is stuff we use all the time. So I won't be going into that folder for this, because I know everything in there.
Do you have a way of filtering by date? Can we look at the first thing that you made for this podcast?
No, because it was on a different laptop that this started, and we didn't have the hard drive at the time. And then we have used dump files, which is where we're going to be going today. So the first thing I notice is a picture of, you know the meme? You know the meme where the guy is talking really close to the lady's face at the bar? You know that meme? You know that famous meme? So I have a picture here of Palpatine replacing that guy. The literal first thing I see, Palpatine replacing that guy and talking to the girl at the bar. And might I say, this is actually some pretty good work here. The head is comically large, but I'm pretty happy with that one. That makes me feel awful and fantastic at the same time. There's a picture of So this is a picture of all the fish that chase Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon and Jar Jar, and a picture of Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon, and Jar Jar. And they're all playing the bongos because the name of the ship is the Unabongo. And this one makes me feel not as good. Because it's it's actually rather distressing to me that this came from my brain. That this is something that I put a lot of effort into. I also don't like that the biggest of the fish looks like it's humping the side of the bongo.
It does
like
look like
a
it's
horny
humping the side
dog.
of that bongo.
That's upsetting. That is upsetting. What else do we have? My favorite thing about this is that there's a lot of things that I don't throw away things. I don't delete things. So anything I have gets thrown into this folder, regardless of if it's an edit or not. So I love that I have a picture of the JFK assassination movie, and the back into the left freeze frame. That's something that I definitely have in here. I also have a picture of Scotty holding up a bottle of bourbon to his face from Star Trek, which God knows when that started. I have a picture of Rick McCallum sitting at the infamous dinner scene with Hoogans. And then next to it, I have a picture of cactuses put into the room for some reason, like many cactuses. What else do we got? I got a picture of the. Do you know the meme? Ben and I joke about this meme all the time. Like, I got fucking banana bread at work today.
Mm-hmm.
That guy in an X-wing with R2-D2 behind him. I got a picture of Riker on Obi-Wan's head. I got a picture of Kylo Ren waking up from the Wizard of Oz. I got a picture.
I just watched Jay go fully down, face first to the desk.
I got a picture of the Dateline NBC To Catch a Predator guy sitting at Shmi's table, and I can't possibly figure out what would have caused that.
This is a very unserious show that we make here.
Let's skip to a random spot. Before I do though, I got a picture of a droideka in a combat hat, or in a cowboy hat, and with a sheriff badge in front of an old school Wild West town. Let's see. These are screenshots, so there's probably nothing interesting in here. Palpatine with a Santa hat. Palpatine's head on Sami Zayn dancing. Let's see what else.
Confusing to me. How the hell did we get there?
I don't know, but I'm pretty sure the answer is in the in the Downtime Dark Papa Palp Super Hour, because I think that one is definitely in there. There's a lot of merch here. A lot of merch.
We make a lot of wrestling references on this show. What do you think the over-under is on anyone who listens to this show having any idea what we're talking about?
I don't think any of them do. I think it's just you and me. I have a lot of screenshots of Adam Driver in that cologne commercial. I have a disturbing amount of screenshots.
Well, who among us doesn't have a bunch of screenshots of Adam Driver in that commercial?
Yeah. I have a screenshot. Oh, was one of the first I did for the show. This is a picture of Dexter and his sister in Palpatine's lab in Rise of Skywalker. That's one of the first ones I ever did for the show, so I can locate what happened. I have a picture of two B1 battle droids with stogies coming out of their mouths and hats, black and white noir style.
The looks that I keep seeing from Jay right now, I can't tell if it's like deeply amused or like deeply unhappy.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I found a screenshot of that video you watch every time you're high.
That lady's been very helpful to me.
I have so many pictures of Barack Obama on other people.
It's our forbidden bit. It's the bit we end up doing.
It's the forbidden bit. And then right next to him, a bunch of Vin Diesel and Star Wars ones.
Every once in a while, that one still slips out into our regular day-to-day with our friends, too, though. We'll be in the middle of a game, and you just get a, let me be very clear. Jay's having a problem.
I don't know what this could possibly be from, but there's just a random picture, a black screen with text on it, that just says in the Star Wars Every Week Forever font, "I've seen the movie, whatever you just said is not it, but fine, this monkey will dance." I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means.
Is editing Jay having a problem with something that, let's be real, I probably said?
Probably. I have a picture of Alec Guinness Obi-Wan Kenobi as Yu-Gi-Oh!
As you do.
I have... This is Lawrence's favorite edit. I have a picture of Palpatine on a romantic novel smut book cover called The Emperor Goes Commando. And I have a picture of Palpatine as Wario. Wow.
Fun fact, Wario is my, I would say favorite, but the only character I play in Mario Party. Every single time.
I avoid Mario Party like death. No one has ever had fun playing Mario Party. It's a friendship ruiner.
My wife and I play a lot of Mario Party.
How? How does that not break your relationship?
I get very competitive with Mario Party.
How does that not break?
I'm the reigning defending champion in this household. Actually, no, that's not true. She beat me last weekend. I'm no longer the reigning defending champion.
How does that not break your relationship?
We have fun with it. I talk a lot of shit. My wife tells me I'm being mean to her.
You probably are. That's what Mario Party does to people.
And then, one of us wins, and I do the little Wario finger dance that he does when he wins.
I have, for some reason, a lot of pictures of Nick Cage.
I mean,
but I can't find what would have caused me having a ton of pictures of Nick Cage.
I mean, I'm pretty sure you've used that Nick Cage, meme face in many, many edits.
I don't have memory of this, but that, according to today, doesn't mean anything. I have a lot of pictures of Polaris, and I know exactly where those are from. That was me making fun of Ben falling in love with a comic character visibly on an episode. And we have one of my favorite edits ever. We'll end with this one, because there's a lot in here. One of my favorite edits ever is, oh god, what's the name of the movie that details the women's baseball league from during World War II? Oh, League of Their Own. Looks like, why do they call it a comedy drama? It's definitely not a comedy.
It's a dramedy.
Well, this picture is one of my favorite things I've ever made. It's a picture of Vader over Tom Hanks' face, ready to choke out a very carefully edited to have the hair and the hat of the character Tarkin. That might be my favorite thing I've ever made. I'm very, very, very happy with that. The amount of... That came out really good. That's actually, I usually make bullshit edits. The Vader one is very bad, though. But the... Tarkin as her work is one of my finest things. And then there's Palpatine Snoke Kang with Kylo Ren.
There you go. There it is.
There it is. There it is. We've come full circle. We've come full circle on this episode. That is nothing. It's a retro... I think it works to have, a retrospective episode at the end of the 15th rotation, randomly. Which brings us into the hardest part of every 5 rotations. Which is ranking the movies.
Yes.
Yeah. I made a joke last time and did it in order of length. And that's probably the truest version of this list I will ever make, if I'm being honest with myself. But I think we should probably redo it off the top of my head based on not length. So, Chris, you got anything in mind?
Do you have my list from last time?
Somewhere in the Google
I'm
Docs, yes.
curious how much it's going to differ this time.
We can go over it after, because I don't want to look at mine until after I write
Yeah.
it down.
So, say Empire, Revenge of the Sith, say A New Hope, Jedi, Force Awakens, Last Jedi, Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, I think that three bottom is going to be true for all of us. With Last Jedi possibly swapped in for some of us. I'm surprised Last Jedi is so high for you.
It's all about ease of watch at this point. Like, it's not even about how much the movie pisses me off in its existence. It's entirely about, like, how easy is this movie for me to sit down and watch.
How is Last Jedi easy for you to watch?
I mean, it's modern and at least somewhat interesting to look at.
I would like to say ahead of time as I write this out, this has nothing to do with quality, because I'm realizing there's a pattern here that I don't particularly love. I am rating this entirely on the exhaustion I feel when I realize it's the movie that I have to watch that week.
I like that your rankings have a theme each time.
This one's accidental. So this is based purely off of malice towards length. Okay, so I have it. First we have Empire. Second, A New Hope, because every time I get to it, it's like, oh my god, this is going to be so short. What a good week. Revenge of the Sith, because there are definitely weeks where I don't want to watch Revenge of the Sith, and there are weeks where I'm like, this is pretty good. Surprisingly, next is Return of the Jedi. This is just by process of elimination.
Yeah.
The big surprise is next, Phantom Menace. And I'll tell you why. After the dread of watching Rise of Skywalker and knowing the dread of watching Attack of the Clones next, Phantom Menace is the easy part of the 3-week dread. So it ended up higher because of it. Next is The Force Awakens, because I can say it's definitely farther down. Because when we go from Return of the Jedi to The Force Awakens, I definitely am always like, not the sequels, they're so long. That's where my head's at. It's like, that's so fucking long. Then it's Attack of the Clones, Rise of Skywalker, and a movie that I defend very often on this podcast, The Last Jedi, and I will explain. It's very hard to find the time to watch Last Jedi.
Yeah, yep.
It's a very long movie. It's a very long movie. It's one I defend a lot on the show. I think I like it better than you and Ben do. But it's very long. It's 2.5 hours long, Ryan.
It's too long, Ryan.
It's too long, Ryan. And I'm going to get Ben to do a small recording of theirs and put it in here. So, future Ben, what do you think? Hi, it's Jay from the Stars Every Week Forever offices. We could not flag down Ben for a recording. They've had a very, very busy week. So, I do have his rankings, however. So I will fill you in through that, and then we'll do a weird Wikipedia because we forgot. So, much like the meme, his first is episode 1 because they can be insufferable when they want to, followed by episode 4, episode 3, episode 8. Episode 5 is very, very low. I'm going to have to question him about that at some point. Episode 7, episode 6, episode 2, and episode 9. So the big surprise in there is episode 5. So, we'll take a second and we'll take a look at how things have changed. Now, the big change here is with Ben. In the preview episode, Empire was at 2nd. In rotation 5, Empire was 3rd. In rotation 10, it went back up to 2nd, and now it's sitting at 5. And I'm going to have to harass him a little bit for that, because I can't think of a situation why that would happen. The one consistent thing across everything is Phantom Menace being first. That has been the case since end of rotation 5. It wasn't true in the preview episode, but that was before they dedicated their lives to making my life a living hell with pod racing. So, the other thing that's consistent is Rise of Skywalker is last in every single list. Now, with Chris, there aren't a lot of big changes with Chris. The big one, if you look at the big picture of it, and all 4 of these we've done, is Attack of the Clones losing the bit that he enjoyed it so much and slowly sliding down the scale. So Attack of the Clones is at 8. It was previously at 6 in the last time we did this, and then 7 in the time before that, and all the way up at 3 because he's a madman in the preview episode. Beyond that, the big thing that always surprises me is where he ends up putting Last Jedi. Because Last Jedi ends up going down from the preview episode and then up. It ends up consistently at 8 for rotations 5 and 10, and then goes up all the way to 6 this time around. It's not a huge change, but considering how he thinks of Last Jedi, that's pretty big. Now, on to me. Well, mine are usually pretty different because, just because of the way I look at these, because a lot of it has to do with how I'm getting through the movies at the time. So the first 2 are pretty much what I thought. Empire and Revenge of the Sith switched out at the top, but it's mostly the same, with Rise of Skywalker and Attack of the Clones switching out a little bit in terms of the last one. Last time, at the end of Rotation 10, I based them purely off length, because length was a big thing and is still a big thing to me. But I tried to be a little more serious this time around. The big change here, if we're not going to count the length ones, is Last Jedi just fucking plummeting down these lists. Because in the preview episode, Last Jedi was very, very high at 4, and now we're looking at 9 twice in a row. Now, I wouldn't necessarily consider Rotation 10 to be emblematic of how I feel in these movies, but it is based... This is a more honest version of this, I think. It's me going into every week what I'm dreading. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. The story, I suppose, is Phantom Menace kind of skyrocketing up here. Just because it's not one I dread because we're coming off the sequel trilogy. Now, there's one thing we forgot to do that I have to take care of. We did not have a Ben, and it is the end of a 3-movie series, which means it's time... This is very weird for me to say on my own in the Star Wars Every Week Forever office, but it's time for Weird Wikipedia. Now, if I can figure out how to do a Weird Wikipedia, that would be very nice. Ben, I need you. Ben, teach me how to use Wikipedia. Okay, navigation, random article. This week on Weird Wikipedia, we have holoprompter. A holoprompter was a piece of holographic technology employed by newsreaders. You know, like the newsreaders that didn't seem to help fucking Naboo, like, at all. What are these from? Fate of the Jedi? What is Fate of the Jedi? Oh, it's some of the last books that they did for the EU that we pretty much just ignore the existence of. And one of these came out on my birthday in January 29, 2013, which means it's one of the last EU books to ever come out. Well, that's interesting. Anyway, that's Jay from the Star Wars Every Week Forever offices. Back to the last little bit of the episode. That was a shit list. I'm sorry. I'm kidding.
I mean, come on, it's Ben. It'll probably be a shit list on purpose. What are you talking about?
This has been Star Wars Every Week Forever. We love you all very much. Thank you for putting up with us for 15 rotations for some fucking reason. Thank you to Mr. Mishap and Anja Maxed Out and friend of the show Lawrence, like people that we hear from all the time, specifically Anja Maxed Out lately and friend of the show Lawrence. We hear from them pretty commonly, but like everybody that checks in every once in a while, we appreciate you keep us going, and one of you gave me a great idea for the next rotation. We love you all. Good night.
Hello, all you beautiful people, and thank you very much for joining us on yet another week of Star Wars Every Week Forever. We upload every Wednesday around noon on various platforms, including YouTube, Spotify, TuneIn, and many others. If you have any friends, companions, people you would like to torture with our presence, feel free to send them our way. You know where to find us. If you would like to interact with the show and the various co-hosts, you can find us quite easily on Twitter at SWEWF. We check there very regularly, so it's easy to get a hold of us. And I hope all of you wonderful people have a glorious rest of your day. Until next we meet, may the Force be with you.